Hi, my name is Jason. I'm also known as Zorn on the Fantasy Grounds forums. This is the final video in a three-part series covering how to play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons over the Fantasy Grounds virtual tabletop. At the time of this recording, the current live version is 3.0.9. While this tutorial series is aimed at showcasing 5e D&D, most of what you'll learn by watching these videos is universal with respect to the capabilities of the software. One of the powerful features of Fantasy Grounds that you may have heard about are library modules. As there are currently no licensed modules for 5e yet, if you want to use these, you'll have to make them yourself. Although it's never been easier to make your own modules using the parse utility, I do not use modules at all in this video series, as they are not a requirement for an amazing Fantasy Grounds experience. With all of those disclaimers out of the way, let's finish this series with building adventures. As we complete our tutorial of Fantasy Grounds, I'm going to assume the viewer has read the basic guide section of the Fantasy Grounds wiki site, specifically the library and modules section of the campaign data. If you haven't read this article yet, I suggest looking at it after watching the video, as it covers exporting campaign modules for use in another campaign. Before getting started with making an adventure module, the first question that I think needs to be answered is why use adventure modules? Why don't you just put it all right into your main campaign? Here's why. So this is my main campaign. I just have the 4 characters in here, and you'll notice I have nothing else. Nothing. I'm going to go and open up my library, and I'm going to load a module. This is an adventure module for first level adventure from D&D Expeditions. This is a single module. Here is how many entries that creates in your campaign. And bear in mind, this one would actually be 3 tabs, so quite a few there. Encounters in there. If you put every adventure into a single campaign, your campaign gets huge. What I can do instead is build an adventure module, and then all I have to do when I'm done with my adventure module is just close it, and all those things go away. So that ability to pick and choose what I want to be looking at in my main campaign is just fantastic to me. The only thing I keep in my main campaign is my characters, and that's where I get the party sheet and my combat tracker. That's really all I keep here. Everything else is handled through modules. So now, with that out of the way, let's talk about how to build a module. So the bare minimum, first thing I need to do in order to export a campaign and make an adventure module is make a new campaign. I always call the campaign whatever the adventure is going to be. So this will be Defiance in Flan, which is the first D&D Expeditions adventure, which I just happen to have the PDF for. So we'll put Dungeon Master for the username, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm on 5e and hit start. So I'll see you on the other side. Here is my absolutely blank. There's not even any characters. Options aren't set. There's nothing. I don't even have anything selected in the library. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to open up Defiance in Flan. Let's put these out of the way here and let you get a look and see that I've got, when I'm done, I want to have all of these story entries. I want to have all of these images right here. I want to have all of these NPCs as well as all the encounters for those NPCs. And I want to have all of my items built, though I'm probably not going to spread them out in several tabs, but I still want all of my items built. So I want to have all of that. Oh, plus don't forget the tokens that will come with Defiance of Land. So I want all of these tokens to be added too. So in order to do that, let me go ahead and close this, and bam, it all goes away. It's beautiful. We need to start building. So the first step in building actually has nothing to do with Fantasy Grounds. It's about planning, and it's my firm opinion that if you don't take care of this planning before you try and build your module, you're just going to have an endless day of frustration. So here is my plan. I need to create maps and images. I need these 3 maps. I want to do a player version and a DM version. I need to create these NPCs and the tokens to go with them. So Bandit, Guard, Spy, these are all the different NPCs that will appear in this adventure module. I need to build these encounters, which will be built from all of those. And then I need to build these items, because they'll be used in treasure parcels. And then I need to build these parcels. These are the ones I'll need to hand out. So once I have all of those things built, then I'll actually put my story entries together. I feel that if you try and do story entries, like just start at the top and start working your way down, you'll just get stuck constantly. Oh, I got to go make that monster. Oh, I got to put that token in. Oh, I got to get that image ready. It's better to have all the little building blocks for your foundation, if you will, before you start building the building on top of it. Now, once I do get ready to do story entries, my first story entry will be right here. Notice it's in parentheses. That's what will be my top entry. And then the first level will be what it links to. The second level will be what those things link to. And the third level will be, a few of them will even link to that. So those are all room descriptions. Once I've built all these story entries, put all my text in and formatted it, I will have a full module. So let's go ahead and get started with our module building. So my first step is going to be making my images and maps. I want these 3 maps: Goblin Lair, Undercrypt, and the Secret Prison. I happen to already have them built. I made them all in GIMP. So I will click this folder. So that's where they're going to be stored, and I'll copy them from another spot on my drive and paste. And now I've got all 6 of my images, a DM version and a player version. And when I come down here, you'll see now they're all showing. If I click Goblin Lair, there's my Goblin Lair. There's the Secret Prison. That's the DM versions. Here's the player version, which is a little bit bigger. So all set to go. I've got my maps done. Okay, even I can admit that one was probably a little too simple. The next thing I need to do is make my NPCs, which honestly is probably the most time-consuming process of making an adventure module. And I'm going to show you a shortcut. So first thing I'll do, though, is make tokens for them so that I can actually link tokens. So I'm going to go to GM, get my monster bag, and I'm going to copy all the tokens. I made all of these with Token Tool. Drop those in. I always make medium tokens, 128 pixels across. I make small tokens, 80 pixels across, tiny or 64 across, and then like large, huge, blah, 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 just keep adding 128. So 256, 384, etc. I guess 512. So I've got all my tokens built there, and you see here now I have a monsters tab, and there's all of my tokens that I'm going to be linking to. So got the tokens done. Now it's time to actually build the NPCs. So time to put the NPCs in. Now there's 2 ways to put NPCs in. One is by manually typing them in, and the other way is dragging them in from an existing module that you've already exported before, which has one little caveat to it that we'll get to. But first, let's just look at building an NPC straight up. So I'm going to do new, and we're going to make this a bandit, and let's go ahead and link his token. I have a bandit right here. Drop that on there, and then let's just fill this out. So he is a medium humanoid, any race, any non-lawful alignment, AC 12, leather armor, hit points 11, 2d8 plus 2, 30 feet speed, 11 strength, 12 dex, 12 con, 10, 10, 10. Nothing special on any of those. Passive perception 10. Let's see. I believe this is, I'm going to copy that one in. Any one language, usually common. Challenge is 1/8, where's 25 XP. He has 2 actions. The first one is scimitar. It's right here. Paste. Second one is light crossbow. And let's copy that and paste. Okay, go ahead and lock that down. He's good to go. So now I got my bandit ready. I want to go ahead and I'm going to create a new encounter while I'm at it, just so I can demonstrate what's coming. This is meet at the barn, which should have 2 bandits. So I'm going to drag them in, set it to 2. I'm good to go. So the next NPC I need to add, I want to add a spy. But instead of typing it in manually, I'm going to go ahead and go to my library, and I'm going to open up Defiance and Flan, the module I've already built of this. And I'm going to go to the Defiance and Flan tab. I'm going to click on the spy so that I've got it open, and then I'm going to go back to my campaign tab, and I'm going to drag the spy in and drop it. So we'll go ahead and close it there. Now, this is dependent on one thing. I need to have the module in my modules folder that it came from, because that's where it's getting this token. If we come back here and look, you'll see it now shows Defiance and Flan. But here, let's go to modules, and I'm going to close Defiance and Flan. And you'll see that my token went away. That's because that's how it's linking to it. So I have to have that token available for it to see it. Now it can see it. There's a way to make it so that I don't have to have the module open. There's two ways. The first way, if I want this to be a completely standalone module where it's not, I don't need to have that, so I could give this file to someone else and they've got everything including the tokens, I need to relink the tokens. So I go to Spy, open that up, and I go to Monsters, find the Spy here. Where was my Spy? Right there. I drag and drop it and close that. And now when I close Defiance and Flan, I keep my token because it's no longer linked to Defiance and Flan. The other way, let's go ahead and pull another monster in from Defiance and Flan. I'm supposed to have guards. So let me grab guard, flip back over here, and I'm going to slide this down here. The trick is to close Defiance, because what happens is these will not link correctly. Like if I drag guard in here, I'm sorry, let me get rid of that. If I close this and I drag guard in to my encounter, he won't have a token on him. So the way to fix that is to make sure you have the module that it came from closed. I just close all my modules and then come down here and do, in fact, let me go ahead and drag everything in before I do this. Here, I'm going to grab here, NPCs, and I'm just going to drop all the NPCs in. So Bugbear, Cultist, Goblin, Grick, Scout, Skeleton, Thug, Wolf, Warg, Zombie. So there's all my tokens. Now I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to say /reload. This will reload the whole campaign and write the database to reference those tokens even though the module they came from is closed now. I'll show you what happens. What it means is I can see the tokens whether the module is open or closed. So the module's closed. Let me go to, get all these open again. And I'll go to the encounters, meet at the barn. Here it is. I should be able to drag the Spy in and still have a token. There it is. I'm also supposed to have the 3 guards. I drop that in. There's my guards. So if I come over to my tokens, you'll see it is referencing Defiance and Flan. Matter of fact, if I open this up and look, it'll even show you all the tokens that are being referenced, right? You'll notice Spy is not in here. That's because I linked Spy directly, okay? There is one guard in there, but that's because the way I drug it in. So I'm going to go ahead and close my token window. So I have 2 options. As long as I don't mind that I'm relying on having that other module for these to exist, then I can leave it like it is. If I would like it so that the tokens exist independent of another module, I need to open them up, and then I need to relink each one of my tokens from my own monster tokens. So, which is what I'm going to do here. So I'll do that real quick. Zombie. I also recommend locking them after you've done it. So unlock, drop my war again, lock. Okay, now you'll notice, here's how you can tell that it worked. If you don't see any reference to the module you got those monsters from, you have replaced all the tokens. If there's still one showing, then go into it and it'll tell you what token you are still referencing from the other module. So that's honestly how I recommend doing this whenever you're building a module so that you're not reliant on other modules. But the only exception is like if you have a monster manual module that you've made, maybe you don't mind just continuing to reference it. But if you want something that's standalone, you need to relink the tokens to new images. Otherwise, it'll try and get the token from the old one. I hope that wasn't too terribly confusing. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And so it's time to build my encounters. So I have Meet at the Barn all built. The only thing I have left to do is put the CR in, and that was CR1 and 325. Now, you don't actually need the CR part of it. All that is for, let's see, uninvited guests, is if you were to drop this onto the party sheet, that's how it tells how much XP to award. And this is supposed to be 4 bandits and a thug. Lock that, close it. And so I'm going to go ahead and put all of these in real quick. Okay, so I now have all of my NPCs built and all of my encounters built. So the next step is to go ahead and build our items. So the first one we're going to do is go ahead and just create an item manually. So let's do a potion of healing. you know what we need to do? I need to go to my options, and I need to turn on identification so that it'll give me the option to fill that in. So the non-ID name is potion. The notes will be a small vial of red liquid. Okay, so the type, this is adventuring gear, and this would be standard adventuring gear. The cost is 50 gold, the weight is 1, and let me just cut and paste in the description here. Copy, paste, there we go. So go ahead and lock that and close it. Now I can also, we're going to go ahead and go to the library here and open up my, so go ahead and got that opened up. I'm going to go in here and choose, say, my fine magnifying glass, handful of gems, promissory notes, small tourmaline. What else we got? Black dragon scale shield, scroll protection from evil, potion. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same method I did for building the other equipment and just drag each item in because it's quicker and easier. But so again, if you've ever built an item once, then you can just build it every time, like so. Promissory note and handful of gems and fine magnifying glass. Okay, so I've got all those built. We can go ahead and close this out of the way now. And as you can see, I've still got my black dragon scale shield all built, ready to go. Now I want to go ahead and make some item parcels. So for my first parcel, new, I know that this parcel is going to be from, this will be from mission 1, and the reward is from the Harper. So I'm going to call it M1 Harper. He's going to reward 200 gold pieces, and he will also have a potion of healing. So I'll just drag and drop that in there. Whoops, don't need that other item. There we go. So I lock that. That's my first parcel, ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and build all of my parcels like this. Okay, I now have all of my parcels finished. So I now have everything ready to go ahead and start building these story entries. So actually, I guess we need to leave these all open. Parcels, encounters, there we go. So we have all of our pieces built, and so all that's left to do now is actually build our story entries. So we're just going to jump right in with our first story entry, and I'm not going to do all of these in this tutorial, but I'm going to go until I've gotten like down to like the end of mission 1, so you can just see exactly how I would build it. So the first entry I always make will be the name of the adventure, and I always put it in parentheses. That's because it will always be the top entry in story, so I just need to open it up and have the rest of the adventure in front of me. So I'm just going to copy my text out of my manual here. Doink. So we got this here. All I want to do is say, let me back that up a little bit. I got Adventure Codex. I want that in bold because it is in the book. Control 5 will make a shortcut. We'll make a link, or I can right click and choose link. Let me see, I left a little dash there to see, and that's just because I want them spaced a little bit. So I'm going to make all of these links, and I'm actually done with the first entry. So now all I need to do is go ahead and make my next one, and I'm just going to basically, every time I have one of these links, I just need to make that story entry. So let's go ahead and do, this is how I like to throw it together. Just build it out in a cascade, and it really gives you an idea of, you know, how far along you're getting to. So copy that. Now on my overview, I'm actually going to have another subcategory because adventure hook will be a link. So let's make another new one call this one Adventure Hook. And copy, paste, lock that, link it, and then I can lock this one and link that one. Go ahead and close that. All right, coming along pretty nicely here. So. There we go. So I just have to keep going until I get all 5 missions set up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and we'll just fast forward through that. So we've zipped ahead here to where I'm setting up, as you can see, I'm on mission 2. I'm down to Goblin Lair. I want to actually link my maps. So I'm going to have the player map, and I'm going to link the DM map. And that's all there is to it. So now I've got the maps linked. And then you see I've got a 3rd level of subcategories for this one as I start doing the actual room. So 2A, entrance, passage, etc. Okay, so fast forwarding again, I'm just finished doing Xandria's Crypt, and something I want to do here is I'm going to open up the player map, which I've already resized so it's manageable, and my DM map. So my DM map already has my things on here, but what I want to do is go ahead and drop these pins on here. So I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to put A here. I'm also going to go ahead and put it on the DM map as well. B, put it on the DM map, as well as putting it here. And then C, here, and here. So now when I hold it, I've got those popping up for me. So I think the trap and passage can actually go right there. And right there. So there, now no matter which map I've got up, I've got my shortcut pins available to me. So, forgot to link that one. Xandria, so you can see I'm already hitting quite a few in here. Xandria's Crypt. This is why organizing them in story entries is so nice. So let's drop 3 in there, and I'm on to mission 4. Okay, so everything's all done. You can see mission 5, secret prison, player map, got my pins on it, funhouse, encounters, another encounter, rewards. We are all set to go. So the last step is to actually create a module now. Everything's built. I've got my story entries, all of my images and maps. I've got my NPCs built. I've got my items. I've got the encounters and parcels. The only thing left to do now is to actually export it and make a adventure module that can be referenced from other campaigns. So one way to do that is to go to library, go to modules, and one of your options is to click export. What I'm going to do instead is just type /export, and it'll bring up the module export window. So first you need to name it. I'm just going to call this DIP tutorial. This is the actual file name that will be used. The thumbnail, you can use pretty much any JPEG or whatever you want. I have an icon I want to use, so I'm going to grab that and say copy. Just going to paste it in here real quick. I have an ampersand on white, just a little PNG that I have. It's just the D&D symbol. The actual name, this is what will be displayed in the module window, so in your library. So I'm going to put Defiance in Flan Tutorial. Okay, category. So you put adventure. It will try and group things up together in their categories. Author, I'll put Jason. Merge ID. This is if there are 2 things with the same name, it's how it separates them. I usually just put like DIP tutorial. I put the file name because that should be unique. Okay, so I want to export stories, images and maps, personalities, encounters, items, parcels, and I don't have any tables, I don't believe. Let's make sure. Nope, no tables, so I don't need to export that. Okay, I only need to export tokens if I want to export tokens I did not use in this adventure, but I used all the tokens I want to export. Click export. It says exported successfully. It's that simple. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to jump into our original campaign, and I'm going to go to Library, Modules. Now that is our old Defiance of Flame, so let's hide that one. And let's scroll down. You'll see Defiance of Flame tutorial is here. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. There's my Defiance of Flame tutorial. That's everything that we just created. But since it's open, let's close that and just look here. My stories, images, NPCs, items, and notice there's a new tab now. So let's grab that tab for each of these. And Defiance of Flame, there's my first story entry. Let's actually go ahead and close the rest of these out of the way. So this is how I would actually run the adventure. So credits, introduction, adventure background, overview, which has an additional adventure hook. Okay, let's look at the first big one here will be the goblin encounter. So helping the Harper, we run through that. Meet at the barn, uninvited guests. He's looking good. Do I have my... Yep, I've got that. There's my potion of healing. It's all ready to go. Close that. Let's look at the last one, my danger at dusk. So here's my window. Then I have a troubled gnome, the secret prison. Let's move that aside, grab my here, and say player map. There's my player map. So I'm going to go ahead and resize that over here. There's that. You'll notice I've got all my map pins on it when I hold control. There's my DM map. Here's my various things. So my adventure module is totally built and ready to go now. Let's pull up the combat tracker and look at NPCs, some of the ones that were added, and put a goblin in. You'll notice my new goblin I just added has tokens. Let's put a skeleton. There's a skeleton with tokens, so everything imported correctly. I am good to go. And when I'm done with this adventure, then I just go in here to modules and I close my tutorial. And now it's no longer taking up space in my adventure campaign. That is all there is to building an adventure module. I hope this was helpful to everyone who watched it. Stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to show how to make an adventure module using parse, which I think is a little bit faster, and it's a lot easier to keep track of what all you're doing. Thanks everyone, and happy Fantasy Grounds. Oh, that sounds fucking retarded.